Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tommy and welcome to another one of my tips videos. Last time we did 5 top tips. Top 5 tips and I really liked this concept. I really liked such content, and I decided that this time I will not do 10 tips. I will do 10 things that you should not do in your sandbox parks according to how I feel that the parks should look to be a little more aesthetic. I'm not saying I'm a master of aesthetics or anything. I didn't study any such thing, but I think that these are the things that you shouldn't really do if you want to have your parks like neat and nice, and you want them to look a little better. So basically it's a different way of saying I'm giving you 10 more tips, but this time we are a little more fancy about it. During this video you will get a special sneak peek into an upcoming park, but I will not tell you when, and I would like you to guess the time in the comments. But without any further ado, we can move on to my don't number 10, which is don't mix different styles. And I mean different styles of buildings, different colors, different eras, different decorations. With decorations it's a little more loose, I would say, but if you pick a style for your park, have that style throughout your park while also trying to distinguish your guest sections. This goes mostly for guest sections because we are talking about colors, we're talking about the buildings. So I would say that you should choose some colors for the buildings, maybe some path colors. We don't have much to choose from over there, but well. And also don't like mix the WTF? Is it WTF? I'm not really sure. Those decoration items, you know, the industry ones, you know, like the cars and the trailers and everything. I mean, if you want to have a secluded part of your park where it's like a maintenance part, it's completely okay, but I wouldn't mix these with your regular decorations. That's what I would do, unless you're doing a park where you are mixing these purposefully. My don't number 9 is don't put enclosures on the level of a viewing gallery. Your enclosures, your dinosaurs should always be visible. If you put an enclosure on the same level as the viewing gallery, you don't lower it even a little bit, it might happen that the dinosaurs get lost in the grass and in the trees and in the shrubbery and everything, and then the guests can barely see them. And this goes especially for the small dinosaurs, and my bonus tip here would be don't put small dinosaurs into big enclosures. Try to find different ways to approach small dinosaurs that I will mention in this video later on. Also, another bonus tip number 2 is don't put water above the other ground levels. If you have multiple ground levels in your enclosure, don't put water up there. Don't put it, you know, like very high, because then it feels like naturally the water would not stay there. It would like flow down to the lower levels. At least what I think. Unless you're doing cascading pools. If you're doing cascading pools, please watch my video on it that I did a few weeks. Has it been a few weeks ago? My don't number 8 is don't build concrete jungles. This is very easy to do. Just break your squares with some trees and with some greenery. Do a little circle, put trees in there, put rocks in there, put water in there. And another bonus tip, you can put dinosaurs in these nature holes. I also have a video on that. If you put the planters all around the hole in the square where nature is, you can put dinosaurs there. The small ones. Don't put a Carnotaurus there. My don't number 7 is don't repeat the same shapes. There is a variety of shapes. There are triangles, there are squares, there's circles, and all the other ones, rectangles. Anyway, try unconventional shapes. Try shapes that don't have any name. Those are shapes too. Unless you're doing a park that's based on a certain shape. My tip number, or my don't number 6 is don't rush. You have all the time in the world to build your parks. This is not a race. It might happen that you spend an hour or two on one square and that you get bored. But if you feel anxious about a part of the park that you're building because it's taking too long, take a break or do some other part. If the muse is not kicking, take a break. It doesn't need to be finished immediately. It doesn't need to be finished today. This is a tip for myself because I tend to get a little anxious with greater projects like the Temple of Mayanga that I was doing for my Jurassic Park Atlantis build. I was building it for 4 hours and I was becoming severely anxious by the time that I finished it. I am an impatient person. I'm working on it. I really am. So take breaks. Don't rush it. Don't feel the need to finish it like right now, because you will finish it eventually. It's not going anywhere. My don't number 5 is don't always use just fences. There is a variety of stuff that you can use as barriers, such as planters, other decoration pieces, rocks and aviaries, lagoons, backs of the buildings. Like, if you want it to look natural, use the rocks. If you want it to look pretty, use the planters. But there's always something else that you can use, because it sometimes feels like the fences are too industrial, and if you want to have a nice view of your park, the fence can mess it up. So just saying, use the planters. I have a video on that. How many times have I said that today? If you browse my channel, you'll find it there, I guess. My don't number 4, don't leave your fences and paths crooked. Did you ever think that I would omit such an important piece of information? The smooth tool is the key to smoothing your parks out. That's pretty self-explanatory, I guess. Yeah. I usually put all the fence, like if I have a fence, I try to use the flatten brush around the whole perimeter, so that the fence stays in one lane, because I don't like it when the fences go up and down with the terrain. It's not aesthetically pleasing, I think. Also, the same goes with the paths. You cannot have like big jumps or like crooked paths. I always need to smooth everything out. If I want to do different levels, I make sure that it's gradual, that it's not just like a big slope or something. You want it to be smooth. You want your park transitions, especially with the paths, to be smooth if you are doing different levels of the park. My don't number 3, don't use all the plants in every enclosure. When you use different plants in each enclosure, it can create a variety of enclosures for you to build. You won't get bored. If you use all of these plants, it can all look similar and it can look very stuffed. When you use different plants in each enclosures, it can look like this, or it can look like this, or it can even look like this. And it's the same biome that I've been showing you. It's easy. And you can use decoration pieces in your enclosures too. You can use the fiery pillars, they look really cool, or the sticks, they look really cool. It's like, if you want this ancient feeling, you can use monorails in your enclosures to build temples and palaces and stuff like that. So there's really no ceiling where your creativity can go. My don't number 2 is basically the opposite of my don't number 3, and that's don't put too little in the enclosure. We all know the feeling. You've been building for quite some time, your park is almost finished, and yet you still have 3 enclosures left. So bam, lake, bam, a couple of rocks, bam, tree brush, and we're done. You know what I'm trying to say. Don't just use a lake, a few rocks, and a few trees in every single enclosure. Try to play with the textures, try to play with the overall feeling of the enclosure, try to do themed enclosures, try to use the decorations. However, going back to my don't number 3, always make sure that it's unique in some way. Don't put everything everywhere, but at the same time, put at least something somewhere. Does it make sense? I guess. I hope so. And my number one don't plan too much. Number 1 is don't plan too much. You should plan a little. This depends on every individual. If you like to plan your things and then just like fill in the particular pieces, if you like to do layouts and then fill it up with stuff, it's okay. But I personally do tend to get bored with planned layouts. For example, my Atlantis, I love that park and I love that build, and it was everything that I wanted it to be. However, After the midway point, I got a little bit bored with having to go around in circles with building the same guest sections and enclosures that were predefined with the pattern that was supposed to be there. It turned out great, but I like to let my imagination run wild, and I like to figure things out as I go. I like to have that muse kick me whenever I look at a map and I'm like, okay, this could go here, this could go there, and we could build this over there, and we could go build this over there. And I don't know how we're gonna get from here over there, but we're gonna figure it out, and it's gonna be great. It's a great thrill to let the imagination run wild and hit a home run with a random path design. But if you're a planner, you can completely disagree, you can completely disregard all of these don'ts and all of my rules, because it's your parks and you decide what goes into your parks and you decide how you want your parks to be built. But I would also be very thrilled if you can write me in the comments like, this is something that I'm using, this is something that I agree with, and it's all about trying to find our best styles, what suits the best of us, and just share some inspiration. And on this note, I am going to leave you. Well, I'm not going to leave you, I'm just going to leave you. I'm just going to finish this video, and because it's getting too long. Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you had fun watching this video. If you like this video, please give me a like, comment, or share. And if you think that you could enjoy my content, my park builds, and my tutorials and speed builds in the future, please consider subscribing, because there is much more coming. There's a whole special Dominion themed series on the way starting this week, so I will be looking forward to it very much, and I will be looking forward to seeing you here next time. But by that time, have a great day, and thank you again so much. Bye bye.